Welcome everybody to the next installment of our GHGA webinar. Today's topic is the beginner's guide to Galaxy with our speaker Florian, who we've had on previously. Since we currently don't have upcoming webinars, we would like to highlight additional resources from us that you can use while we're preparing new webinars for you. For example, you can go to ghga.de/resources/training. There we have all the training materials collected that we have created over the past couple of months, and you will find them in different categories of topics, and you will be able to find all the videos as well as the accompanying materials to the webinars. And I also encourage you to check our YouTube channel, where also all of the recordings are made available. And I also encourage you to use this QR code to sign up to our newsletter so you can be up to date on our upcoming events and webinars. I would like to briefly introduce our speaker, Florian, who received his bachelor's in bioinformatics and biosystem engineering, and has a master's in bioinformatics from the Freie Universität Berlin, and his PhD in bioinformatics from the University of Freiburg. He is in outreach, customer support, and bioinformatic development for Galaxy Europe, and also a bioinformatician and scientific workflow engineer for GHGA since April 2022. And today he's gonna tell us a little bit about Galaxy.
Exactly. So I want to present you Galaxy. So the basics about Galaxy, because during my PhD time, I got involved with the European Galaxy instance, one of the biggest. And I did for Galaxy training, development, and tool integration, and also customer support. Nowadays, it became a bit rarer because of time issues. But here and there, I still engage with Galaxy because it's a very interesting project, and it has a very lively community, and it's also really good for exchanging on certain topics. So I really recommend to get engaged into Galaxy. And for this presentation, I want to answer for you the following question. So first of all, what is Galaxy? It's maybe, if you never heard about it, it's like something very obscure. And you may then already ask, if I now explain what Galaxy is, what are the benefits to use Galaxy? And then I will immediately come into the topic of how Galaxy is used right now for certain projects and how you can use it. So I will do some hands-on to show directly how you interact with Galaxy and how you can use it for data analysis. Because the last point is how you can engage with the Galaxy community. So let's come to the topic of generally what is Galaxy. Galaxy is one of the biggest open source projects, and it is an open source platform which has the intention to provide for everyone data intensive analysis in a fair manner. And this means that you can execute, and it mostly concentrates here on bioinformatics tools, that you can execute these tools for your data without the need to program or execute the tools on a terminal. And this goes not only for bioinformatic tools, but also for workflows. So Galaxy also provides a platform to execute and also create data analysis, so very versatile and reproducible workflows. I mean, if you've ever done some data analysis or you're starting with it, you may know the pain that if I want to execute a bioinformatics tool or generally tool, then I maybe cannot run it because it is a bit outdated, nobody develops it anymore, and I run into some issues there. Or I execute it and I cannot get the same results because of reproducibility issues. Over the years, it became a bit better and better because of containerization, better documentation, but these issues still remain. And therefore, well, computer scientists and life science bioinformaticians especially pay more attention to the fair data, in brackets, analysis principles. So what are the benefits of galaxies? First of all, if you never heard about FAIR, FAIR stands for findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable or reproducible. You can also add that. And the first thing is findability or findable. Galaxy is technically quite easy to find. So if you, so there exist many galaxy instances around the world, and there exist 3 big ones, which all start with use galaxy dot something. And the 3 big ones are actually Galaxy Europe, so use galaxy.eu, which I was part of or still part of. Then the main one, so where it was developed, this is use galaxy.org. And then there's another big one, the use galaxy.org.au, so the Australian hub. Aside from all these, from these 3 big ones, there exist several smaller ones or also private ones. So you can search maybe in your country or in your continent for a Galaxy instance. Most likely it will exist. And even for some institutes, they have these Galaxy instances because it is quite easy to set up. It's an open source project. So it is freely available. You can set it up even on your local machine. And therefore, which I'll come to in a moment, accessibility, another big benefit of Galaxy. And here it is. So I mentioned, so it is free. So there is, if you ever want to use one of these big 3 instances, eu.org or the Australian instance, it is free for registration. You don't have to pay anything. They have thousands of documented and maintained tools ready to use for you. And if you register for one of these instances, also some other smaller ones, you quite often get already some storage with it. So the big 3 provides 250 gigabyte for you. And you get also the computational resources for you to do the data analysis. These big 3 all operate on cloud service, and therefore you don't have to worry about enough resources to do your data. So if you, I mean, you might know a mapping might need a lot of resources which you don't have for maybe your local machine, then Galaxy helps you with that. Yeah, it is easy to access. You will see in a moment that it is quite intuitive to use. So it has, which you can see here in the picture, this web interface where you can interactively run tools, as well as you can create your data analysis workflows quite easily. And right now, there exist over 8,000 implemented command line tools in the Galaxy toolshed. The Galaxy toolshed is kind of an app store. I come to that, explain this again a bit later. What that means is that not all Galaxy instances always have the same tool set. Underneath, there is the possibility to install these tools, but some instances also are specialized for some data analysis. So they only provide you for certain for a certain tool set in order to analyze a specific data type. So let's say single cell. There exists a specific Galaxy subdomain and hub for single cell data analysis, and will provide you mainly with tools to analyze single cell data. Third point, interoperability. Another point of fair data principles is that you can do your data analysis on your local machine or on a specific Galaxy instance, and then later on can also share it or put it somewhere else, and you can still do the data analysis with the set of tools or with the workflow. And this is quite easily with Galaxy doable, because you cannot only share your workflows, you can also share your entire histories. And with histories, this means that you share your data analysis you do step by step. This is doable in the instance itself, and also the workflows can be shared between instances and imported so that you can easily reproduce. And this is the fourth point, reusability, reproducibility, that you can easily redo your data analysis on different instances, on your local machine, on other machines, etc. So Galaxy also saves and also provides you with detailed metadata about the tools, so which tool version was used, which parameters. And the same goes with for the workflow. So in the workflows, you find the same information for each individual tool, again, to make it more easy to reproduce your results. So if you ever do your data analysis again 5 or 10 years later, it is fairly safe to say with Galaxy that you can reproduce your data analysis quite well. And the last point, which I want to mention, is it has very extensive learning resources. There exists the Galaxy training material website, which you find here as a link. And in this Galaxy training material, you'll find a lot of resources about various topics like single-cell analysis, metabolomics, metagenomics, epigenetics, how to do certain data analysis steps, but also entire data analysis from A to Z. So from quality control to third level data analysis, like clustering, let's say. So here are some statistics. So there are currently 22 topics covered, like epigenetics, for example, 257 tutorials developed over 7 years. And that's, again, the cool thing. So this is not only driven by employees of the Galaxy team. No, it is a community-driven effort. So there are many people who provided information to the Galaxy training material, and it is continuously reviewed and updated. So it's really worth to check out. So let's come to generally how is Galaxy used right now. So some examples. So technically, any data analysis is possible. It started with bioinformatics data analysis, so let's say with transcriptomics, but right now there are more and more other fields coming into the mix. For example, environmental science with climate change, natural language science, cosmology comes more and more into Galaxy. And so the diversity grew over the years. One example, since I'm a bioinformatician, I now focus mainly on the bioinformatics part. I mentioned the single cell field. There you have For example, the Human Cell Atlas has a Galaxy instance. Human Cell Atlas use galaxy.eu. And there's also a dedicated subdomain for Galaxy itself for single-cell data analysis. Then in Germany, there was a consortium formed called the Miracum, focusing on medical information, so medical science, computer science. And there you find, for example, a workflow for somatic variant calling and annotation for informing molecular tumor boards. And a third thing, there is also, there was a big venture during the Corona crisis, which still remains. I mean, there's still Corona. And there exist many workflows for COVID science. For example, one for continuous analysis of variations in Corona in order to observe and detect new upcoming variants in Corona. If you want to know more about what kind of fields are covered, which kind of subdomains exist in these fields, then check out the Galaxy publication library. It will point you to some resources for you to start engaging in some communities. The last thing I just want to mention is for you, how can you now join the Galaxy community? If you thought now, oh, that's very interesting, I want to learn more about Galaxy, or even more, I want to contribute, I want to develop for Galaxy, then here are some options. If you ever run into problems, there is a Galaxy support forum where you can ask your questions. There is also a GitHub channel where you directly can write something, and quite often you get a response a few hours later. There is the Galaxy Hub page. So there's a Galaxy Community Hub. This is the center point for you to find to get more information. For example, you find there the event page where several events are listed that comes up. You find also the Galaxy training material site and more resources. There is even now a Galaxy Mentor network. It was already started 2 years ago. I'm not incorrect right now. Was stopped for a moment and now re-initiated. In this mentor network, what you can do is, if you ever join the Galaxy community, you can apply to get a mentor. So, and a mentor is often postdoc or a senior Galaxy person that knows the Galaxy community, and also has some data analysis background. So you apply this mentor, you get a mentor assigned to you, and this mentor helps you in your project. So you need to then invest into some time into a certain project, and this mentoring will help you to progress in your project. Two last things. There is one event upcoming called the, I have to try to pronounce it. So if there's a person from Sweden, I am sorry. I think it's Smorgasbord. It's an online event, so it's purely online, where you can register, so it's free of charge, and you can basically do your own training. So there will be, you can set up your own training, and for that day you do the Galaxy training material and learn about Galaxy, the data analysis, and can ask questions during this time in a dedicated Slack channel in order to get more information and help in that regard. And one big one is there exists also a conference for Galaxy, so the Galaxy Community Conference in 2023. It will be in Australia, in Brisbane. If you want to engage in the Galaxy community more, highly recommended. Lots of lovely people. Australia is a bit far, of course, if you're in Europe. But if you're a bit closer, and maybe worth, or you're in Australia, then join. Worth to pay a visit, not only to learn about Galaxy, but also maybe to foster your data analysis skills. And with that, I come to an end. I thank GHGA, of course, and also the Galaxy community, especially Berenice Batou, who provided also some visualizations and content for this presentation. And generally, a lot of people I know which work hard for Galaxy and Galaxy training material. Thank you very much.